Why would you want to test your blood glucose levels on a ketogenic diet? I'm DeLauer with Keto-Mojo, and I want to help you understand why it's important to test not only your ketones, but to also test your blood glucose while you're on a ketogenic diet. You see, the Keto-Mojo device is the gold standard of blood testing, and blood testing is the gold standard of overall ketone testing. But what's unique about Keto-Mojo is that Keto-Mojo can also test your blood glucose. And oftentimes people wonder, why would I even want to test my glucose? Well, the interesting thing is, when you have ketones present in the blood, it's not like your blood glucose goes to zero. See, we're never going to have our blood glucose go to zero because we always have specific functions in the body that require glucose. And whether or not our body is creating glucose from breaking down protein or from remnants of carbohydrates that we consume, we are still creating glucose. So it's really important to know that when you test your glucose levels, you could have a varying number. You could have a glucose level that is higher than anticipated, or it could be lower than anticipated. And a lot of times it'll tell you what your body is doing at that very point in time. It's not like you have to test your glucose levels all the time, but by testing your glucose levels in conjunction with your ketone levels, you can learn a lot about a specific food. A good example is almond flour. You see, almond flour contains some carbohydrates in it. So we might actually find that our glucose levels go up a little bit while simultaneously our ketone levels go down, which is telling us that we're slowly getting kicked a little bit out of ketosis and raising our blood glucose by consuming a certain food. But another thing that's interesting is a lot of times people will find that right after a workout, their ketone levels will drop and their glucose levels will be elevated. And that's kind of a normal response because it's simple gluconeogenesis, where the body starts to break down some of the protein and some of the other components of cells into a usable form of glucose. But it tells us a lot about how catabolic we could be going. I know catabolic is kind of a $10 word, but catabolic simply means how much muscle we could be breaking down. So if our glucose levels start to go too high, even when our ketone levels are somewhat high, we could be finding that we're in a state where you need to up our calories a little bit more or up our fats a little bit more to counteract the effect of the glucose that's coming into the equation, meaning that the body's starting to break some tissues down. So since the Keto-Mojo device has the unique ability to test ketones on one strip and glucose on another strip, it makes life very, very easy in one pretty clean sweep to determine where you're at. One of the things that I like to do the most is self-experiment with different foods and see where my glucose reading lands, because that way I know if a certain food is going to have an effect on me later on in the day. So make sure that you're keeping it locked in here with Keto-Mojo, and make sure that you're testing not only your blood ketone levels, but also your blood glucose levels so you can truly know the bio-individuality of you as a person. I'll see you in the next video.